Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? You're listening to Journey to Truth podcast. Today we are joined by Ivan Teller. If you guys don't know who Ivan is, he is an extraterrestrial channeler. I discovered him on a website, supersoldiertalk.com, where he put out a video about a message that he channeled about Biden being a clone, and I was sucked in. It was a fascinating message. It was a fascinating channel, and I just couldn't get enough. So we reached out to him and we set something up. He's doing some really amazing work. He's not only the channeler, he's an author. I guess the book you wrote is Gateway to the Fifth Dimension. I actually just ordered it. I didn't even realize that you had a book until recently, and I just ordered it. It sounds absolutely fascinating. So that should be coming in the mail shortly. Before we get started, just do a quick little few quick plugs. Teespring.com, we have t-shirts 20% off until Christmas with promo code Sleepy Joe. That gets you 20% off all merchandise and t-shirts. You should
change it to Clone Joe.
Clone Joe. Yeah, exactly. What else we have? Omnia, guys, we have 10% off our Omnia patches. For those of you who don't know what they are, it's a patch that you put on your cell phone or any radiating device, harmonizes the negative frequency and balances it into something that's actually beneficial for your body. People have amazing results. We have it on all of our devices.
It's legit.
Yeah. This is what it looks like when you get it. It comes inside this little thing. However many patches you order, you just stick them on your devices. It's free. It's like a free energy device. If you've caught our episode with Tim Sanders, it's really next level future technology. In my opinion, I think it's absolutely incredible. And then Hopewell Farm, guys, we just teamed up with these guys. They have some top of the line CBD products. This oil in particular is incredible. I take it before bed. I sleep like a baby. I wake up without pain. I have ran out, but this stuff is incredible. There is a promo code Journey to Truth 10, gives you 10% off through Christmas, I believe. So go check that out if you're looking for a new CBD to try. I highly recommend this stuff. Anyway, I think I covered all of it, right? Yep. Welcome to the show, Ivan. We're excited about this. I've been taking some notes. I'm interested to get into some stuff. And first off, I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself and tell us how you even discovered this ability and what led you to be doing what you're doing.
Thank you for having me. So around, we say I had my spiritual awakening around 2011, where I knew a friend, which I don't think I had a dream of her, but sometimes I have dreams and I meet somebody after that. I don't think that happened, but it was an old friend through a work co-worker, and she just got an injury through a car accident. She was, getting rehabilitation. She said she talked to a tarot card reader. So it's like, why not I go see her too? I already knew about all this stuff, already past lives and all that. You can go back into that, but. But I kind of just 2011 I started looking at this stuff. I did a past life regression with a tarot card reader and did energy healing to release negativity, and past life regression saw Atlantis lifetime, so like millions of people die during that. That's interesting, and I just felt spirit guide energies around me, but I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know. I didn't have guidance of, so I was like, it wasn't time yet. So I knew these things were here, but I kind of shut down.
Sure.
Long story short. Because you don't want to tap into something you're not sure what you're tapping into. So I already had an energy attack from a dark being, let's say. I don't want to go through that again. You need guidance when you do this. So I've heard this before. People just shut down. So I just closed down, and this is 2011. So around 2014, got my guides came through to say I need to, be a psychic full time. It's like, okay, how's that working? I just felt the being come through. It's like, okay, how's that work exactly? So I looked on Meetup. This is all a long story short, but I looked on Meetup, found a psychic circle, and the right one, because you can find a wrong one very easily. So I found a good one, and it was a Native American teacher, and they do a circle where they give you a reading. They said I was a good reader, and I can be doing the same thing. So I went to the classes, and it became more how to understand how to protect myself. But I didn't feel right about telling people what their romance life is and all that. So this isn't my thing, but I became, at least I know how to protect myself, how to tap into things. And I even ran the circle a couple of times, but didn't feel like this is my path. So I kind of shut down again. So I did actually writing, which is interesting. I did fiction writing did channel writing. But then around the end of not too long after 2014, I was at work and I got this message about reptilian channeling from my guides. Like, well, why didn't I think of that before? It's like I've heard of David Icke, I've heard about all that. It's like, why didn't I hear about this? I never thought about looking that up. I've heard about channeling, but it was never really time for it. Just even when I had my 2011, I was in a small group, and actually one of the guys there brought in someone and just had a short message from an angel. It's like you get tuned out of yourself. That was different. And I tried to do it. I couldn't get anywhere with it. So 2014, I just started now I know how to tap into people's energies. It's like, okay, I found on YouTube alien channelings, and I was like, geez, where have I been? So I just started tapping into alien energies. I started tapping into reptilians and feeling them talk to me. I can feel them around. So I just started seeing if this is where I need to go. So I wasn't sure if I can actually bring in a being through myself. So that took until like March 15th, the Ides of March.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I've been thinking about it, and my guides are kind of pressing me to give it a shot. So I bought a audio how to channel on from Betsy Morgan, and she just talked you through it. So I was like, okay, she did energy healing through your chakras. So okay, and then she asked about her guide Orion. It's like that didn't work. It's like I have her guide, which doesn't really work. So it's like, okay, not her guide. I use my own guide. So it just basically I already knew who my spirit guide was, Ulysses. I just ended up firing him later on because it wasn't a very good guide. But
you can fire your spirit guides.
I fire a spirit guide. Yeah.
Yes, I never knew that.
World.
So guys, if you're out there and you don't like the path you're on, just fire your spirit guide.
Seriously. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, the Native American mentors said they had to go through all this, change your name or something, add a letter to your name. No, just say whoever's around me, just you guys are out of here. Yeah. And you can do whatever method you want to with that.
Yeah, that's
interesting. Yeah, I made a video about that too, way back. But I knew my spirit guide's energy. I tried to channel an angel, Archangel Michael. That didn't work. So you visualize the guide or the being that you want to channel, and you bring it through you, and that's a little bit easier said than done. It's like you're protecting yourself. It's like you got to know what you're bringing in. So that's a little bit. But my spirit guide knew, so it's like, okay, I'll try this. So I did bring my guide through. Of course, when I channeled him, it's like that was the first channel. I didn't have it recorded because I didn't know where this was going to go. But of course, we're kind of arguing with each other even when I channeled them. So, so then I channeled a Zeta Grey after that, and I can even feel their ship above me moving around. It's like when I did that, it's like, okay, this is something I have to do. I have to put it on YouTube. I have to make a recording of this. This is, I've tried other YouTube stuff, nothing ever felt right, but this felt like I have to record this stuff no matter what. And that's why I did my early channelings. You just see me on the floor channeling things, and eventually I moved to this room. And I shared some of this stuff around, and I got known with the webinars. The webinar is really what kind of kicked all this off through other alien groups and other channeling groups. And I've been just doing it. I just do a webinar every day. They're like 2 to 3 hours. Sometimes one was 4 hours. That was fun. So I just, when I started channeling, I wanted people to ask me questions, but I didn't know how to get somebody to do that. So when I shared it to other channeling groups, I just kept doing it, and it was just like I say, off to the races after that. So then,
Yeah, it's really incredible stuff. I mean, you've been from what I understand, you've been channeling a lot of feline beings, the lion beings. Lately, they've been coming through, which is really interesting. My friend Kate, the Kate Awakening, you guys know her. She had a dream, an experience like a few nights ago where she was visited by the lion beings. She doesn't really remember much of it, but she woke up and she doesn't have pets, mind you. She woke up and she found a 4-inch whisker in her bed after this. And she was totally just like, what the hell is this? And she sent me a picture of it. She's like, check this out. And I just think that's fascinating. I was like, you better keep that because
save that.
Yeah, save that. Get that DNA tested. It's interesting though how I think more and more people are actually being contacted right now and astrally, I guess. Many of us might not be aware of it. People like you obviously understand exactly what you're doing. But when you don't understand what you're doing, it's happening astrally.
A lot of it happens during dream time.
Yeah.
Actually.
Dream time. That's what I mean when I say astrally.
Yeah.
But and also, like you said, that's a big problem that people have with channelers is, I think most people can agree that this is a real thing, but who is coming through? And that's where the protection and stuff comes in.
Yeah.
And that's important to keep in mind also. Yeah.
Well, beings that you don't trust, I mean, obviously you're not going to make everybody happy. But if you have a being that's trying to control you, tell you what to do, tell you the end of the world's coming, that's where, they're not helping you. So is it this way or the highway? You have to do it like this, whatever it is, healing, whatever it is, that shows you that that's a control.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be able to free to do whatever you want. You should be able to allow to fire your guides to do whatever you want. If you want to marry an angel, go right ahead. Some of these beings say you can't do that, but leave it open. So
if you want to fire your spirit guide, go right ahead. So let's just jump into this Biden information because I don't know how many people by now have suspected that Biden is a clone. I mean, there's so many different pictures. His ears are different. Everything about him, his eyes, you name it. Not just Biden. I mean, many politicians, celebrities, you name it, musicians. Mm-hmm. But when you came forward with this Biden information, it was just resonating with me that apparently there's basically a deep underground military base under Dulce, New Mexico, where there's a whole army of Joe Bidens that they're cloning, a facility. I don't know if an army is the best way to put it, but it's really interesting. Would you mind sharing that information with us?
Sure. No, I can tell you. Yeah. So it was that night. I was answering questions for people. People submit questions to my site, and I don't do it. One question. I take a pause. But then I felt this energy come through. I wasn't looking for it. It just sort of came in by itself. And that's people like download every day, and some people do, but especially just to go with the flow. So it just came through. Just felt Dulce, Biden, underground. I was seeing it. All these different clones, they're all trying to mimic his energies. But this happened when he became like congressman or something, like when it's controversial, but around when his first wife died, so that's when the new Biden came in. So, which makes sense.
Oh yeah, I remember in your video you said like apparently he's been a clone since 1970.
Yeah, he's been
then this is like the deep state's big experiment.
Yeah. So he's been under their control, but now he's kind of he's got old now. They're doing all kinds of stuff to him now. It's so bizarre. Why would they choose this guy for a presidential candidate to begin with? He's easy to control. So he always does what he's told. But yeah, it's kind of deteriorating, as you can see. Is he really there? Probably not. But yeah, I saw all the different Bidens. I saw some made it, some didn't. Some did not copy all his mannerisms correctly, so got destroyed. They are in Dulce though, but it's still happening. I imagine there's Clinton and all Clinton clans down there too, but Biden was their man.
So what exactly did you see? Like, how are these clones being produced? Are they growing them?
Yeah. It was through like a big glass, like grown inside of a glass, infrastructure. Like each clone was in one. It was full of water. I don't know what word you'd use for that, but incubator, I guess, or but it feels like it was a tank.
Yeah.
Like what you see in Dulce images, you've probably seen something like that. Yeah, same thing. They come out as adults, and they mimic. Yeah, they're just taught to be. Yeah, I feel like they created it as a fetus, and it came to adulthood. That's what I got from that. So.
Yeah, so you said that you saw him actually like trying to learn how to be Biden,
how to be Biden,
like in a classroom scenario. Or what did that?
They're all in a lineup. They're all standing, was what I saw, and they're all trying to copy mannerisms that are being taught. I feel like there's a female that was teaching them how to do it, so they had to make sure that they followed, and they didn't recognize each other. They're all standing. It's like one's here. You have a space, and there's another one. There's space. There's another one. There's a whole bunch of them, and it's like a room full of them. They're not recognizing. They're just doing like they're under hypnosis, you can say, in a trance, doing what they're told, and they seem like they switch them out quite often. However, they do that. Obviously, not going to show that.
Yeah. Well, that I thought maybe you went into. Did you not go into how you speculated they might do that? How they switch them out as far as like while they're sleeping?
That's right. Yeah, you're reminding me something. I do a lot of stuff between now and then.
Sure.
Yeah, it was. You reminded me about. Yeah, it was that night where they. See if I remember it. Yeah, they came in at night. They kind of like silenced the room where like a wife or anybody can't hear, like coming through a portal or something like that, and they would pick them up, throw them over their shoulder, and bring the other one in, or lay the other one down, or walk it in, whatever you call it, something around those lines. So that's right.
That's kind of how like any typical experiences happen. It's like they just freeze time almost.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's like something that was Dark City movie. Right when you mentioned that, it's like pretty much freeze time, and so it is a deep state how they get away with this.
Didn't Corey good talk about they have the technology to they beam a frequency or whatever they do to makes everyone in that the house or the vicinity who's sleeping stay asleep or whatever. So or in a state to where they're not conscious or whatever.
Well, and that's that. Yeah.
So they probably use something like that.
And that's actually happened to my dogs because I'm an experiencer also. And I've had an experience where my dog should have been going crazy, but it looked like she was sedated, just like breathing so heavily, like she couldn't, like she was just oblivious or just not even there. And I just always speculated that that's what was going on. Like they had her under some type of trance or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I definitely have, if that's the case,
well, I'm sure that's what they use in those.
Well, when I connect to that, I see time altering energy there. So they're slowing time down or something along those lines. So what I'm getting from that is they bring in the Biden, they lay him down or walk him in, whoever. And they feel like they have to talk to him for a little bit to get him to snap out of his trance or do it, let him know, maybe even tell him a code to activate him,
Yeah, like some type of buzzword or something. Yeah.
Something basically. So.
Very, very fascinating. So that was a video that sucked me in. I'll find that video and link it below here so people can check it out. That's the video that's how I found you. I watched that video and I was like, this is incredible. And then I started watching some more of your stuff. And you channel multiple different races of ETs. And I was just curious, have you gotten any information as far as a disclosure timeline on what we can expect? I know we all want to know the future, and sometimes it's be careful. Sometimes it's better not to know, too much stuff. And I understand that. But has anything come through as far as disclosure?
There's a little bit. I mean, right when we get through what we're getting, presidential situation, that's gonna go. That seems to be slowing things down because we're dealing with enough as it is. You throw an alien into this, we're just gonna start using it.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel when you say that, like 2023, possibly, I would still leave it open for next year, every year. I feel like it's going to start increasing, where the weeks will come through. I'm getting a little bit of messages here and there, but it's going to be little things here and there. It's not going to be. I mean, I've had an alien contact where I actually felt the alien being talking to me, talk about disclosure, and I thought it was going to happen that year. This is a couple of years ago. So it's
Really?
going to be way off. Yeah. So,
Yeah, and I think you're right. That lines up. It's just at this point, just a little bit at a time, just kind of. Which there is an actual government program called the Continuing Public Acclamation Program. That is something they actually have to. This was put in place like during the Kennedy era, and this is something they have to do. They have to slowly release information as part of like a treaty or something. I don't understand it exactly. So that's what we're seeing. Like they because like they know. I mean, ETs run the planet, right? And they can't keep that hidden forever. So they have to slowly acclimate us. And that's what we're seeing, but it's getting more ramped up now.
Yeah, well, yeah, with the Pentagon, that's one. I feel like, yeah, I think it's going to take a couple of years for this to be taken more seriously. The media will start to take it more seriously. I think it has a lot to do with the Trump administration too. There's a Biden administration, it goes back to the same old world wars. We're just not going to go anywhere. So that's what I feel like. Trump, I don't know if Trump's going to just become a dictator. He possibly might become that. So nothing seems to be working right now. So
yeah,
that's something I'm looking at right now.
So whenever I know I was kind of running through the context of your book, the different table of contents. That's what I'm trying to say. Whatever it is. You talked about Illuminati in the astral plane. And that's something I'm fascinated with. It's because they're not just here, obviously, like they're in the astral plane too. So like what happens to our souls when we die? I've heard there's like soul traps that they have in place that they keep us basically like in a reincarnation cycle. What kind of information have you gotten as far as that stuff goes?
Well, yeah, there's Illuminati here in the physical, here at Rockefellers, all the names you've heard of. But there's Illuminati that is part of our Earth's ascension, our incarnation. They're aware of who we are. They're governing who comes in, pretty much. They can interfere with it. Of course, Mother Earth can always interfere too. So she doesn't like what they do, or keeping beings out, is what I feel. But yeah, there's I feel like they're on another planet usually, but yeah, they very much are dictators of our planet, I can say.
So do you think that this is still in place, or do you think they're losing their grip a little bit?
They also transition. You know when their time is up. Doesn't mean it's expired just yet, because you see all the chaos going on in the world. But if we are willing to take our power back, sure, they're not. We'll just go somewhere else. They want us to. I feel like some of them want us to ascend, not all of them. So, but some of them feel like we're not worthy. But if we show that we are, we just take more control of the planet. So, they're part of who comes and who goes. Some souls get trapped here. Like those aren't really having these discussions are usually the ones that are going to come back or come with some kind of cycle. We'll go to another version of Earth. Some people that are connected to religion feel like they're not worthy, can actually go to a version of hell if that's what they feel like they need to go through. So,
yeah, I've actually heard about that. And I have a friend who her brother passed away and like something was unlocked and she started channeling, but she did what you talked about at the beginning, just shut it off. She didn't know how to control it. She was scared. I mean, stuff was coming through. She was having anxiety attacks. But one of the things she explained to me was she had an experience where she was like in a lower density version of Earth, which she described as hell. Like it was like worse than third density. I don't even know what it is. But she saw some people there who we would consider dark beings on Earth, and she saw them in that realm. And I just always thought that was fascinating. And now you say that there is a version of hell out there for these people who actually believe in it.
They don't feel like they're worthy of higher dimension, and that's darkness within themselves. And that's what religion brings out. I mean, we're here to bring darkness out of ourselves in the long run. I feel like there's a lot of higher dimensional beings. You go to 12th dimension, you go higher than that. they can be positive all they want, but darkness does come through eventually. You have to deal with it somehow. Either recognize I have darkness over, but I got this dark side, so working on it. At least you're recognizing. A lot of people that are positive don't always recognize it. So they come here and they can become very evil, and very powerful too, like in spiritual communities too, because they have a kind of hypnotic manipulation. So
absolutely, that's something that's been becoming very prevalent lately, as far as figures in the communities and these spiritual communities who aren't really who they say they are, and there's stuff they're not living in integrity. There's stuff going on behind the scenes, but they're putting out this message.
Exactly,
they're putting out one image to the public, and they're living a completely opposite way that people would be horrified.
Yeah, see, he knows. He knows about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well aware.
Yeah, I think some of the names that eventually, when people start awakening to this reality, I think people are going to be shocked at who some of these people are.
Well, it's turning into like the new religion. That's why I say.
Yeah,
because religion's losing its steam. So now they find this alien group. It has all the lights. It has all the fanciness. It must be okay. And you find out what it is.
Yeah, exactly. People get so excited about this stuff. A lot of times, this information and everything, they never stop to question: is it real? Is this pure? Just like when you're channeling, or when like a being shows up or a spirit shows up, and you're just so excited about the experience, do you stop and question it, or you just roll with it and let them
give your power away to it immediately, or do you stand in your sovereignty?
Yeah,
definitely. It was and when I first started, of course, this wasn't recorded. I did channel a reptilian being. I felt my arm turn green. It's like, geez. I had to kick the thing out too. It's like, okay, that was a little bit much. That's it. It's all in your intentions.
Yeah.
I've actually had a connection with recently with Ariel, the Archangel Ariel, is where someone privately. The Ariel. So I don't know if the subject matter we're talking about. Ariel was like, I was channeling Ariel, and Ariel was like, Ariel didn't really care. It was so bizarre. It's like, I know you have all these questions and all that, but I don't really. She's like, I'm too good for this. So I had to get her out of there. It's very bizarre. So that's one of the ones I've had. So
that's interesting. So as far as like the reptilians go, I've heard some people say that. So not all. So basically, you have the Dracos, the Archons, or whatever. So all Dracos and Archons are reptilians, but not all reptilians are Dracos and Archons. Apparently, apparently up 90% of the reptilians are actually benevolent, but we have that 10% that is just dominating control here in our system, and that's all we know. And I know one of the messages that comes through from these reptilians is that they want us to understand that not all of them are evil. Not all of them are existing in this darkness. And by you nodding your head, it seems that you would agree with that.
Agree with that. Yeah, there's always like a small amount of reptilians that are causing this. It doesn't take much. And the other ones are like, they're making us all look bad. But even humans, I mean, does it take like a few humans to make everybody look pretty bad? I mean, we're not exactly perfect either.
Yeah. Well, you have to think about it like if we were to infiltrate another system, but all we sent over was a ship full of murderers, right? And they just went and started killing people on that planet or doing whatever they wanted to do. That would be their only reference point for humans.
About like Dark Fleet and Secret Space Program. That's like the Nazis.
Yeah, not Waffen, yeah.
And they're what's representing humanity throughout the galaxy.
It's actually what's happening.
They probably think the same thing of us.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, there's a lot of planets that probably just humans. Come on, those things.
Sure,
yeah, exactly. It's the same thing.
Sure, they think we stink. They think we smell. Yeah. Well, and then what's interesting about the reptilians also is like. I think it was Johann Fritz that was saying, he's another SSP whistleblower, if you don't know who he is, but he was saying that one of the Draco princes that he was dealing with asked him, why do you wash away your power? Because apparently they stink. The reptilians stink, but that's because they don't use deodorant. They let their body, apparently that smell that testosterone, all that stuff, it gives you power. So whenever they think it's weird that we wash all that away because we're weakening ourselves. And I just thought that was so fascinating. It's like, wow, you just never think about stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Well, the warrior race, like a Draconian, the ones I connect to most is others. But yeah, they feel like, yeah, that makes them stronger they can handle their odor.
Yeah.
Like, they can handle just like they want to be seen as great. So doing a bang up job here. It's not just them that is causing manipulations here, but yeah, it makes sense. You don't see a crocodile taking a shower, so
Yeah.
reptilian, but there are reptilians that do shower at night.
I've heard the Klingons in Star Trek were based off the Reptilians.
Oh, yeah,
so that kind of gives you an idea of their consciousness.
Yeah, when I started channeling, I felt I had I think it was Egypt being a conehead I connected to.
The coneheads are real, like the movie, the Dan Aykroyd.
The skeletons.
Yeah, I know, like the elongated skulls. Yeah.
That's what the coneheads basically are.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, that's the best disclosure movie out there, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. But I felt the reptilian presence after I channeled that. It's like right by my door when I was asleep. It's like, oh geez. And then I went to the kitchen. I felt like, man, I do not want to be in this kitchen. There's something here. And in the morning, I opened the refrigerator. In the corner of my eye, I saw a reptilian, like big, bulky, just like arm, like a ninja turtle. It's like, just bulked up, just anything you could visualize. But because the sunlight was coming a certain way, I could just visualize this corner of my eye just for a little bit. And I went to a psychic circle after that. I went to channel with me. I can feel them following me, like with me. And I channeled a Nordic being there, and I told people about a reptilian visitation, and they said, yeah, I felt something walking around, kind of irritated. So
yeah.
I was mad about our wake. So reptilians and other beings are here to keep us asleep. So that's their job.
Yeah. What kind of information, like on the awakening and ascension and like this December 21st portal, like what do you think might happen with that? Is there anything coming through as far as that information goes?
Oh yeah, 21st. I feel like not much is going to really change. The energy will shift, more of an awakening, more of a lighter energy. Presidential situation has a lot to do with it. I feel like more of there's going to be like I'm not sure when, but whereas alien knowledge will be taken more seriously. There'll be some kind of maybe an event, an anomaly in the sky, where the media is no longer ignoring it and allowing to help us in the adjustment. So all of us that are in this awakening, we're kind of getting ourselves ready for more of this to be taken seriously. That doesn't mean ships are going to land, but more of it being a conversation, which is important. Secret space program, all of this, Black Girl lost their minds, but we taking, instead of just a niche audience. So
yeah, well, actually, that's already happening with that Israeli article that came out.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as they admitted that we know about ETs, they're just not ready to show themselves. Obviously, that's their narrative. But they talked about the underground base on Mars and the humans. We have American astronauts up on Mars working in this underground base with reptilians, or not, they didn't say reptilians, but with an ET race. This was on like NBC. I watched the news segment. Mm-hmm. I read the article, but what was funny is I was scrolling through and I found a reaction video of some, I guess for lack of a better term, sleeper. Mm-hmm. He saw this article and it just like flipped his whole world upside down. And he was like, guys, I'm just trying to take a shower and I see this article on news about aliens are real and we have underground bases on Mars. And he was just like, you can tell he was just like distraught. And he's like, I was just trying to take a shower. And it was so funny. But you can tell he's like, this is, and he flipped his camera, he was showing the screen. He's like, this is NBC. This is the mainstream news. He goes, is this real? This is the type of reaction that people are having to this.
That was on NBC. I was surprised about that. Oh.
Yeah.
It's When they had, I've had space programs been a lot longer than 1950s. Been here forever.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard even like the Germans, like as late as in the late 1800s, they were already involved with Mars. But then something happened on Mars around 1900 that basically stopped anyone going there for about 30, 40 years. And then after World War II is when they started going back. Because of the Maria Orsic channeling and all that.
But they went
stuff.
to the moon before that.
They went to the moon. They went to Antarctica. Which, by the way, I wanted to ask you: have you channeled any information about these Stargates and this portal system that these ETs use?
A little bit, yeah. Around Yemen. Yemen's the one that seems to speak to me the most because it's more of it's like the secret war. It's like. Our media doesn't talk about it, no surprise there. But I don't know if it's still going on now, but war going on. So that seemed like one of the more powerful portals that's going on right now. So
interesting.
Going to other planets instantly, and sometimes they might have mental problems depending on how they go through it. But I feel they're utilized quite often, actually, especially in Iraq. So
especially where?
Iraq.
Oh, Iraq, yeah.
They have Iraq too, so.
Well, yeah, I always wondered like what these wars were really about over there.
Stargates. Yeah,
Stargates. That's
hiding
exactly what I've heard. Yeah,
information. Yeah, when I first started connecting, I was just doing conscious connection. They were talking. First thing I got like a reptilian talking about underground bases in Iraq. First thing I came through. I was like, good luck on proving that one. But,
yeah. Well, that's just it. All this stuff seems so fantastical, but it's just right beneath our feet.
It's the movies have been talking to us. They tell us things. Event Horizon and the Alien movie where there's like they're talking about terraforming other worlds and all that. I mean, it's like there's a hard.
They literally tell us everything in movies and fiction. Fiction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they put a hard element to it just to make it. Oh, it's just a fiction.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it's up to, if people want to think of this as fiction, that's on them. But we're telling, in their minds, that's how they justify. They're like, well, we're telling everyone, but they're all just thinking this is fiction and fake stuff in movies.
It seems like after World War II, they just started going everywhere.
Yeah. There's breakaway civilizations everywhere out there, mostly Germans. And then most of them came from Earth. They were trafficked. A lot of it's slave conditions. It's not necessarily
a lot of trafficking.
It's not necessarily like a cool thing to be a part of the secret space program. So it's interesting to me that and they don't even other star systems out there think that Earth has been destroyed in 1949 by a cobalt bomb. That's the narrative. That's
what they tell them.
That's what they tell the people out there. And Earth is referred to as Terra, not Earth, and they call us Terrans, not humans, the Terrans. So
I'm not surprised,
Oh yeah. I don't know. It's all just extremely fascinating to me.
Oh yeah. I don't go that out there in that realm. I do other things, but I do where I feel where people can, handle, what can help them in their lives, whatever that might be.
Well, and that's honestly, that's more important anyway.
Yeah.
Because everybody needs help right now during these times. Yeah. So if you're doing that, you're doing the right thing. There's a lot of that information that's fascinating, but what good is it doing us to know that,
It's cool. That sounds interesting. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. But we have to figure out how we're going to get out of this.
Well, the main thing is that all the problems on the planet are artificially manufactured or artificially allowed to go on because we have all the technology. We've had it for a long time now. That we can easily feed the whole planet. We can easily have everyone. You can have shelter, food, clean up the oceans, clean up the environment, free energy replicators, all of it.
Yeah,
all of it. But it's all being hoarded and hidden from us by a psychopathic elite that wants to kill most of humanity and enslave the rest. And that's what we're trying to get rid of right now.
Yeah, I felt some of that. Like after World War II, they basically want to destroy the planet. I mean, literally, that's what you have was ETs shutting down these missiles and all that. So you have ET help to keep us around.
They're just like they're trying not to interfere too much in our affairs and our free will, but they're like, well, we can't let them destroy the whole planet and themselves. So they're helping in that way, and they're also assisting in ways they can. And they're starting to, you're seeing the UFO sightings skyrocket. I mean, it's so many now. So it's like they're trying to affect the mass consciousness just in that way alone, of like more and more people seeing them and thinking about like, oh, wait, are they here? Like, are there ETs? And raising the consciousness. The energy of the planet alone is going up. So the ascension is happening. And at a certain point, it's, like James Gilland always says, the cabal and these more service to self people, they're not frequency specific to where the planet's going, so they can't go with the planet, but they're desperately trying to hold on still and keep control.
They're the Klingons.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, it does feel like some of the elite are trying to be more positive so they don't get destroyed, and that's some of the ones I'm connected to recently. So,
and the ones that don't, they're whether they like it or not, they're going away.
They'll just go somewhere else.
They'll go to another planet. Yeah.
Which is,
or be recycled back to source.
Yeah. Well, like you said, like most of the problems are all manufactured, which brings me back to the presidential debate, which was hilarious. But it was, Aaron, you made the comment when we had it on, you were just laughing, like this is 99% fake.
It's all fake.
It is the opposite of reality, watching this presidential thing play out and these manufactured problems that they're debating over. It's like, can't you guys see?
Tyler and I watching it, we're just like laughing because we're like, how are people not seeing how fake this is?
Yeah, it's actually not at all what we should be concerned about. Like, on the surface, I see how people can see why it's important, but when you understand the big picture, it's laughable.
It's a joke.
Yep. It's just, that's most of the population, or enough of it, lives in that world still.
Yeah,
it seems like so.
And that's the big problem is it's like, how do we wake people up out of that, but in a way that's not going to traumatize everybody? And because I think that's the biggest problem that the benevolent ETs are trying to avoid, is to traumatize the whole planet and cause a mass chaos. So it's like,
So go ahead.
Yeah, I did feel before all this, before we have the plague, I did feel that there will some point be like a mass exodus. And we're kind of going through that right now. So
No, I definitely see that happening. So I want to ask you, are you working on another book? Because your book says book 1. And so are you compiling information and channelings for a second book? Is that something you're working on right now?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I just started on the second. I mean, I've had it before the pandemic. I was working on the second one, then all this happened, and I kind of took a break. So I just restarted it just recently. So probably be next year at some point. So
I'm looking forward to it. And so I want to see if you're willing to do a channeling now for us. I don't know exactly how that works on your end. If you just tap into who's coming through and see if there's a message for us and the listeners.
Sure. Yeah, just do it for our highest good.
Sure.
And so, I have an idea of who's good to bring in right now. So, okay. All right. Blessings. Greetings, you, brother Arcturians. Blessings. My name is I Am. I've just been with this group or this channeler for some time. Basically, yes, the idea is to lift the consciousness of humanity one day at a time. If people are feeling it or not, that's up to them. But we're here to guide those that wish to be guided into a higher frequency of themselves. Doesn't mean you have to be super happy every day. It just means that there's much more happening on this world. So you come out of you call it the coma of the reality. Because humanity, as you call it, sleep, or a coma of, you feel like you are awake, but are you really? You're part of a dream world that's been created for you, basically. A matrix reality. A reality by your controllers. And they're showing how good they are at controlling planets. And you're learning how you are to not be controlled by a planet, by a reality. So it is like a reality within a reality within a reality, actually. So your astral self is basically to protect you, so you don't overload yourself. Because that can, you can easily open yourself up, but can you handle it? Of what's really here, because it can be quite intense. Yes, gargoyle beings, reptilian beings are just standing looking at you. So it can be a little bit much, even for those that are awakened to all this. It's like, is this going to help me in my? Because many people that stay, why people aren't fully awakening to exactly what's here, because you're here to help others evolve. So there's much. So you're kind of putting yourself back to sleep. You're awakened, and actually you can go much further. You're actually putting yourself back into a dull side moment, so you can help others see what you're seeing, even if you're not seeing it anymore. Something more is going on. But yes, if you have any questions, please.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming through. Very nice to meet you. So as far as, like you said, being aware and these energies being too intense, like what is the main focus? Should we be just dealing with stuff that we haven't dealt with, or should we be trying to connect to our guides? What's more important as far as that goes?
It's an individual. What drives you? What is it like? If there's research for like the two of you, I feel like it's research. You don't necessarily have to connect. You are connecting to your guides by doing what you love, what you enjoy. So some people need to connect to their guides because they have not talked to them like forever. But some of you are being guided right now.
Yeah.
So they are talking to you as you find what you're looking for. It's like, I want to know more information about Area 51 or Dulce in Mexico. Of course, some of that will be blocked for obvious reasons. Protect you, actually. They can actually tell you everything. But is that really appropriate? So, and some people do receive information where they can't handle it. So, and even helicopters even show up. It's like, you're just going to do a frequency you weren't supposed to connect to. So, yes, go ahead.
So you're saying that, I guess, the military has a branch out there that can pick up on when you're connecting to something that you shouldn't be connecting with.
Even with channeling, they allow channeling right now. They have not blocked it. They do interfere here and there to quiet information. But yes, they can pick up. They're designed where they can just feel somebody connecting to their frequency, you can say, where they're trying to keep hidden. And then you kind of get the key and unlock it. So yes, happens a lot. That's what your Men in Black are here for.
Are there, what percentage, are there actually human hybrid ETs walking around in the public population?
Yes. About 4%.
4%?
Which is a lot, actually.
Sure. And then would we know the difference between them and a human?
No, they're not really allowed to say anything. Normally, they also marry within their own group. So you don't know. Just like you see in the movies, pretty much. Like the cone heads.
Sure. That's actually a good example.
It is a good example, yes, because it shows that they stay together and nobody's going to know. So even when their kids have relationships with other alien beings too.
Are there ETs within the Trump administration?
Oh yes. There's a lot of positive Men in Black beings there also keep them alive. some beings want to kill the whole project, which you're not allowed to.
Yeah, I've heard there's been multiple attempts on President Trump's life, and the only way to describe how those have been stopped are miracles, because there's other forces at play.
Yes, there's tall blonde Nordics that are assisting in a positive way. There's tall whites. Tall whites have been here for forever, so they have their presence here also. It's like you mess with tall whites, you can see that's the end of, not the end of your race, but sometimes that seems that way.
Now, I know there's a photo floating around where Trump is signing the bill for Space Command, and standing next to him are two commanders that people claim are Lyran commanders or Lyran commanders. Is there any truth to that?
There is. Obviously, yes, we can't disclose fully details on it, but yes, there is a wire connection. Yes.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you for that. And the Q operation, is this something that is an extraterrestrial backed operation, or is it strictly human military?
Oh, it's human and alien. It's extraterrestrial. It's another way to get information out, as you know. It is a psyop, you could say, but in a positive way. Well, both ways. It has all types of energies, but it has coded messages in it, as you can see. So that was the main purpose of it.
I've always said that, like, yeah, it's a psyop, but a psyop doesn't have to be a bad thing. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be.
It's more like a neutral, because some take it different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, I wasn't prepared with any questions, but
whatever comes to mind. Anything.
I have a personal question. I don't know if you would be able to answer,
please.
But I have been made aware that I might be a part of some government MyLab program that I've been being taken since I was a child, and I don't know if there's any truth to that, and I don't know if that's any information that you could provide.
There is, yes, some MyLab. Obviously, that's very controlled. You have a lot of Zeta connections in your past. So you've been on Zeta ships. You've got your orders to awaken humanity, as both of you are. Both of you on different missions, but overall, it's still combined. But you both have different directions you're going into. Well, for you, you connected to more positive Zetas to get more knowledge of the negative Zetas that are here and the ones causing trouble through technologies, through mind control. It's like, I don't want that program. I don't want that one. I want to have some soul left of me. When I come in here, I want to have some way of awakening myself. Even the way you awaken was all planned. You're human for a certain point, and then, oh, eureka, I'm now somebody else.
Thank you for that. So did this, because I have memories of being on craft, and I guess these are the memories that I have.
There's also tall whites on that ship also protecting you. There's some feline energies there too, where they can't show themselves, because some of them look, if they're a human here, they'd be bulky like Arnold Schwarzenegger, because they are very strong beings. So they show up as humans, like they sometimes almost be obvious. It's like, is that an alien? It really does look like one. So this is why many of you incarnate as a human, through the human process, through the normal channels of incarnating, so you can do the work unseen. So,
well, thank you for answering that. So how many people would you say within the community or just in general are actively doing work or being taken or participating in a program at the same time they're living their life here? Is this happening with everybody, or is it just a handful of selected individuals?
Well, we can say right now is around 20% of people. It's not everybody that's in this awakened state. Now, yes, they go into astral, but they live an astral life. They don't necessarily here to be awakened either. They're here for a specific reason. So people say they want to awaken humanity. Not everybody's here, as you know, not here to be fully awakened. They have, they're here to go through a divorce or whatever it might be, and then they're out of here.
So I've heard, sorry, I have questions just coming to mind. I've heard that a lot of celebrities and stuff are actually clones of people that are actually of like high-ranking officers in the secret space programs, but they are here on Earth. They don't know that they're a clone. They think, like Kevin Spacey. He thinks he's Kevin Spacey, but really he's a clone of a guy named Paul Serene in the programs. Is this the case?
It's not with all. There is truth to that, such as the Scarlett Johansson. Now you notice how she's black. Was it superhero?
Black Widow or something?
Yes. A little bit of a clue.
Interesting.
By the way, I'm a super soldier. So yes, they do mimic their roles. Some of their Marvel people. I don't have the names of all your actors, but the one that played Thor, I don't have his groups names were. He's the one too. He's a super soldier also. Obvious when you look at him.
Sure. That's interesting. So, am I a clone? Is there another version of me out there?
They're undisclosed. Most of them are clones, yes. They're undisclosed, yes. Undisclosed locations, yes. But in a positive way.
Wow. So you are a clone. I was right. I was right.
Well, that's where you can complete your mission. So if someone does hijack you, or where you don't remember, yes, we're going to go kind of in a sci-fi realm here. It's not fiction, but where there are times where, yes, you can be actually assassinated and your clone is replacing you. And you continue, and nobody knows.
Interesting.
I think that's what's happened with a lot of our actors anyway. I think, like they say, Patriots in control, like let's just say Tom Hanks has been arrested or taken out or whatever. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that they have control of another clone spawning somewhere else in Australia, let's say.
Right. The cloning has always been part of human evolution. Aliens do it. It's just part of how they learn too. It's just a part of. That's not in all realities, in all worlds, but for yours it's neat because it's kind of a military psyop. The planet itself, it's necessary to stay alive.
I've always said the whole planet's under a false flag attack.
Pretty much, yeah. This is ground zero, or the red zone, as some call it. Yes, yeah. This is your Iraq planet.
Yeah. Interesting.
The war never ended.
How many Stargates are there on Earth?
We're allowed to say 15.
You're allowed to say 15?
There's at least 15.
Yeah. Now that's
most are underwater, actually.
Really? Would that be natural Stargates? Because I know there's man-made also.
Man-made are not that strong. They're not that good. It was made by humans. That's where you have your mental problems. Or you come through another gender. That does happen. It happens rarely, but it can happen.
Wow.
It really mess with someone's biology, yes.
Yeah, I can only imagine what some of those early experiments looked like.
Yes, more like the early ones, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they started with objects as well, sending objects through to see.
They did, but they went right to the human now.
Interesting. As far as what's taking place on the moon right now, how soon is it going to be, or how far into the future is it going to be when humans discover that there are bases on the backside of the moon and the entire moon is actually like a satellite?
There is possible of, obviously our timelines are going to be 100%. Let's say around 20 years.
Oh, that long?
That long ago, yes. That would be rumor. Understand, your human race is still not acknowledging all of this. Now, if most of you are asking the same questions as they are about the election, and looking more like, what's going on? Are we being controlled? In a positive way. If you're conspiracy theorists going crazy, like you're going to have a heart attack, they're not going to tell you everything. It's like, don't worry, just take it easy. Which is many, actually. They want to know the truth, like some of your outgoing conspiracy theories. Yes, Matt.
So 20 years before we find out about the moon publicly. That's very interesting.
Now, that timeline can always become sooner. We're just saying what we see right now.
When are the technologies going to start being released, like the free energy and replicators and all that, med beds?
Well, when your elites no longer want to accept money from humans, and also when your human is no longer one to pay for these things.
Yeah.
So it has to be a group effort. So, once again, 20 years possibly, or sooner, your Tesla is, your Tesla company isn't, they're actually working on other ways, but it has not been approved for obvious reasons. Of course, there are other companies out there doing free energy too. But at least that one's their most well-known one, where they're allowing certain technologies that, because your electric car could have been done a long time ago. It has to be done by a certain person. It's under control, and certain agendas there.
So nothing's really black and white, and anything can change at any moment.
Oh yes.
And the collective consciousness raising could actually affect that timeline. Every choice we make affects that timeline.
Correct.
So are we, what do you see as far as the political turmoil and civil war happen? Are we really looking at some dark times ahead, or is this really going to start turning into a positive movement?
Well, right now, yes, there's many timelines that are still possible. As your Biden, there are timelines where he does still become president, but also feel like your Trump's not going to allow that to happen. So we feel like he's going to do things to make sure he does not leave that position, because he does see where the country is going to go. And the whole point where he became president is so it doesn't go into turmoil, as it looks like it's going to go into even worse. So I feel like he's going to hold on no matter what. From what we're seeing, now it's up to him. But I feel like he's going to do whatever it takes. So now, if he's not in office, we feel turmoil everywhere. The United States and the collapse of it, possibly. With him staying in, it'll still go through a shift of darkness, but it will be better than an alternative direction.
So one other thing, and we will let you go. This vaccine that's out, that's coming out, that we're hearing terrible things about, is it possible to set your intention, if you're forced to get this vaccine, that you can actually clear your energy field?
Right.
Can you explain how that works?
So yes, because some people are going to have no choice. So you go with what's in your mind to dilute it. Like, we'll just use, for example, drink orange juice, the colonial silver, as you mentioned, things like that. For example, you do what comes to mind, you talk to other people, and you continue that direction. And for the most part, I feel like people won't be that negatively affected by it, but some will be. But if you want to cleanse it, there are methods of individually. There's not one way that fits all. But yes, you put your intentions out, you can clear it out. You feel like it's not affecting as it used to, then you should be good to go.
So, but can we can we set the intention before we get it? This this isn't going to affect me. This isn't going to have a negative effect. And will that work?
Yes, it will. And many are doing that right now, even before months or weeks before they even get it. So yes, they're already putting that intention out already. So yes. And even we feel like some of you will even dilute the vaccine itself. So when you do get it, you get like a half a dose. Even nobody can tell where it wasn't affect you as much. But you got it, good enough, it's on the paperwork, you're good to go. So you have that too. So.
One last question I know the answer to, but for any of the skeptics out there, is the Earth flat?
No, it's not flat. But there are flat Earths out there, though, yes.
Are there?
Oh, yes. There's square worlds, there's rectangular planets. Yes, the flat Earth people do exist. Oh, yes, they're speaking from their reality.
Wow.
That is their world. Yes, their world does not have all this chaos. At least from their perspective. Some of them have.
So the flat earthers' world doesn't have all this chaos. Maybe
space definitely exists.
Yes, it does. The flat Earth people, yes, they come from another version of Earth. And you can tell them all day long this Earth's round, they will not believe it.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen that. But I've also listened to some of their arguments, and some of them are valid, which I thought was just like people being paid to put out misinformation just for a major psyop.
No, this is actually real. I don't think a psyop would even come up with something like this. It's like, even they would not come up with something like that. No. Yeah, there are people that they want Earth. To them, the flat Earth, the version they come is more positive. So of course, it connects to that energy. So
more positive on the flat Earth. Well, guys, I might have to switch to the flat Earth here.
well, like I said, not all flat Earths are all positive. Remember
Yeah.
that.
So that's just what you're telling me basically is that other universes and star systems have a different template to where
Yes,
all
they do.
their planetary bodies don't have to be round,
Exactly.
spherical.
Yeah, to them, this is strange. Beyond a round world, what is this place? This is like all wrong to them.
Yeah.
Interesting. And it's just the same with like our 5-star template. Like most of the beings in our system are the 5-star figure. You know, they look more human-like
Yes,
from what I would imagine. But then you go somewhere else, we might not even recognize that form of life.
that's correct. There are also 2-headed humans. They say, why would you want one head? What's the point of that? Who are you going to talk to?
You know, it's basically everything in myth and legend and folklore. I said this in the last episode. Everything that we've ever seen exists out there somewhere.
Well, everything you can imagine actually exists somewhere.
Right. Right. Everything. Every single thing you created is somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes, or you're downloading it, you're creating whatever it is. It does exist somewhere. Yes.
So then, in a sense, no one is ever wrong.
Correct. Yes. Some people feel they're wrong because it's not part of their reality. It's like, that's not part of my reality. But for others, yeah, the more open you are, the better. It helps.
Wow. Well, this can go on for like 24 hours, so we better start wrapping this up. Thank you so much for coming through.
Blessings to you.
Will you remind me of your name again?
I am.
I am.
Yes.
Thank you.
Remember. So, all right.
Yeah.
Blessings to you all.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Blessings. Greetings.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you for that.
Thank you. That was amazing.
That was I feel like we got some good information there. So when you channel like that, do you remember all that also?
With sessions I don't, because it's private and I stay out of it. But for this, I can remember to a certain degree. Yeah.
Sure. So have you ever listened back to one of your sessions and be like, oh shit, I said that? Like that came through my mouth?
Well, like for sessions, like if there's a message for me or something, I need to know how to remember it.
Okay.
I don't necessarily have to remember. So it's just for me directly, not someone else's personal situation. So
what's so interesting to me is how your entire mannerisms change and your voice gets louder and more clear. It's just it's really interesting how that works. It's fascinating to me. I can't thank you enough for coming on and doing this.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Do you want to let people know where they can find you?
Book a session? Just ivantower.com. Find me, or you find it on YouTube. Just look up Ivan Tower. So everything's there. So.
Well, that's simple enough, right?
All right. Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks, Ivan, for coming on and doing this. This was a lot of fun. Really, really fascinating to me, especially for me. I'm just intrigued by all this information. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget the promo codes. They're all below in the description. I don't know if it's too late to utilize any of these things as a Christmas gift, but we do have a new shirt coming up very soon, and some of you guys may have seen. January is going to be our Secret Space Program Disclosure Month. We have a lot of exciting things happening in January. We can't wait to get into that. So keep an eye out for that. Some big names coming up here at the end of the year. It's gonna be fun for us. It's gonna be an exciting end to the year. So thanks for tuning in, and we will catch all you guys next time. Enjoy your evening.
Good night, guys.